What's up, guys? Welcome to the Adventures of Alcaraz podcast. I am here all by myself. I am Miranda Alcaraz. Normally, I have Julian Alcaraz here with me. And this is week 9 to 10 of the pregnancy episodes of my pregnancy story and journey. I'm here alone today because Julian is on a trip, a one-night trip, a surprise visit to one of our street parking members in Vegas. And so I'm solo mom today. I got my mother-in-law. We can't call her grandma because that's not allowed. So Tia, or I can say my mother-in-law, to watch Knox for a little bit so I could come in and fill you guys in on the update for this week. I'm solo, so this will be a little bit of a shorter session, but I do have some updates week 9 to 10. So we've been back from Hawaii now, and things are going good. It's gotten colder here this week. We live in the Pacific Northwest, and I got to say that when I was pregnant with Knox, we lived in Southern California, and he was born in August. So it got really hot when I was the most big, like so uncomfortable, just even if you're not pregnant, just to even go to your car, or it was pretty hot. And I gotta be real and say that when I realized that not only do I no longer live somewhere that's that hot, but the pregnancy worked out perfectly to not be during any of the hot months. And I can wear things like this cozy sweater that I'm wearing today and have way too many of these types of sweaters just to be cozy, comfy pregnant. I'm so super excited about it. But it definitely has gotten cold this week, right in time for us to come home from Hawaii. Things have been busy. I had a dentist appointment this week, which, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this on last week's episode, but apparently dental issues or issues with your gums are very common when you're pregnant. So something just to keep in mind, take extra better care of your teeth and maybe schedule a cleaning at least once during your pregnancy, because I don't know the science behind it, and I maybe should have researched it before filming this or recording this, but yeah, the pregnancy gum thing, I guess, is a thing. I didn't have any issues with it last time, and I haven't had any really this time, so hopefully the cleaning that I got the other day will take care of it. I also discovered a new pregnancy symptom this week, which has not been well documented, and maybe I might be the first person who conducted on accident a small study that found this new thing. So as we do, I was on Instagram one night. Now, I don't typically just scroll randomly through Instagram, but we are on it a lot because we try to be engaged with our street parking community as much as possible, and they post a lot and use the hashtag street parking. So I'm scrolling through Instagram, and somehow I came across this, she's not an Instagram model, she's like a makeup artist on Instagram. And you know what it was? It was when I was putting something on IGTV, and the IGTV suggestions popped up. Anyway, it was like how to change your makeup with age. Now, I know nothing about makeup, so I, of course, clicked on it because she looked like she was maybe roughly around my age. And then that took me to her page, as this is what happens, you guys know. And then I'm scrolling through her page, and there were some photos of her, and she's got these like thick, she's got long hair like mine, similar color, similar coloring of face, thick bangs. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they looked so great on her. And for those who haven't followed me for very long, I used to have really short and kind of funky hair that I would put like colors in, and sometimes it would be really short and like the sides were shaved, or sometimes it was more of like an angled bob that was like a Rihanna / Victoria Beckham thing that I had going on. And so that used to be really fun for me. I'd be really into doing different things with my hair, and basically since 2015, 16, I had extensions, and then my hair's been long, and I haven't done anything too crazy. So the bangs, I was like, oh my gosh, her hair's long like mine. Maybe I need the bangs. So I took a screenshot of this and I put it on my Instagram and said, do I need to do this? I also may have downloaded an app that allows you to try different, like, they're like cartoon hairstyles. It's ridiculous. None of them look good. I don't care how good you would actually look with this haircut because it's like a drawing of the hair, but whatever. I put it on my face and I was like, guys, do I need bangs? And I did like the little poll, and then I did the next slide was where people could actually like type like what they thought about it. And I said, if you're a hairdresser or if you have bangs, like, let me know what you think. The amount of feedback that I got about the bangs was crazy. I've never gotten this much like back and forth about anything I've ever posted, maybe ever. It was insane. And it was everything from you go girl, like it's hair, it grows back, like you chop those bangs, to do not do it. Everybody regrets bangs. You'll love it for like a week and then you'll hate it. But the number one thing that really stood out to me was I'm not kidding, I would say at least 100. I want to say hundreds, but I don't like people who exaggerate too much. At least 100 messages from people that said, do not mess with your hair when you're pregnant. I chopped my hair off. I not bleached, that would be bad while you're pregnant. I colored my hair some weird color. I cut a bob. I cut bangs. Whatever, like people with these horror stories of things and people were just saying, it's a pregnancy symptom. It's just hormones. You're going to want to do something weird with your hair. Do not do something to your hair while you're pregnant. So clearly the discovery that I've made is a pregnancy symptom is wanting to do weird stuff with your hair while you're pregnant. I don't know if it's because we feel like we don't have control of our body, so at least we can control what our hair is doing, or I don't know. But just so you guys know, and I'm not for or against it, to be honest. But so pregnancy symptom is wanting to, I guess, do crazy new things with your hair. Chances of me cutting the bangs, very high still. Very high, mostly because so many people told me not to do it that I don't like to do what other people say. So there's a good chance that I'm still going to do it. And I think a lot of those people don't realize how short my hair used to be and that cutting bangs that'll grow back in 2 months is nothing to me. So, and I'm going to have a weird body. And by weird, I'm not like saying pregnant bodies aren't beautiful. You guys know what I mean. For the next like year anyway, it's going to be different. So now is the time to try it. So stand by for that. I was super hungry this week, hungrier than I've been. And a friend of mine who's just a little bit further along than I am said that, and she also has 5 other kids, so she knows, said that when you start to get closer to the second trimester, I guess, your body's building the bones and the cartilage and you get super duper hungry. And I definitely felt that this week. Speaking of the dentist, when I left the dentist's office, I was really hungry, and my dentist's office is ridiculously far away from my house for some reason. It's like 30 minutes away. I was starving, and for like 3 hours before I had even gone to the dentist, I was craving a Starbucks breakfast sandwich, which is so weird. I used to eat those when I traveled quite a bit. Or not hotels, but in airports or on travel days when the only thing that you even recognize brand-wise is Starbucks. And I would get the Starbucks breakfast sandwiches, and but I haven't really eaten one for a really long time. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I know I've talked a lot of smack about people with their cravings, but this was maybe the most real one that I've ever experienced. And I didn't help that I was starving, and I knew where the closest Starbucks was to my dentist's office. So I made like a whole little video of like, I don't know if I'm going to do it. And then as soon as I typed in to my GPS how to get home and it said 30 minutes, that was when the battle was over. And I went and got a breakfast sandwich. And then a few nights later, Julian and I went out to dinner, and we went to a restaurant where normally I would get like this like sweet potato chicken thing. Nope. I got a club sandwich, which again, like, you guys are like, your cheats are so boring. Like, oh, a sandwich is like such a big deal. But normally that's not what I would order. I got a turkey club sandwich, chicken, which was shredded chicken because we're not allowed to have the deli meat. So this was perfect. And some sweet potato fries. I didn't eat too many of the fries, but I did eat some, and it was so delicious. I was so full after that one, though, like uncomfortable. So yeah, I would say the biggest change this week has been my hunger. Current weight, I weighed myself yesterday is 140.8, which is actually 0.1 lower than it was last week. So I've only gained like 2 pounds. And it's not, so when I talk about weight, you guys, I'm not like saying it as like a good or bad thing. It's more just collecting data. I know a lot of women, because of the morning sickness, lose a little bit of weight in their first trimester. A friend of mine who just had her second child said she gained almost all of the weight for the pregnancy in her first trimester. So there's not like a right or wrong way or a certain amount. I try to eat clean mostly because I want to fuel my body and feed the baby good, clean foods that are healthy. I'm not I don't have like necessarily like a weight goal or anything, but I am interested in the process and when it happens and all of that sort of thing. So I've gained about 2 pounds, even with the breakfast sandwiches and the club sandwich. So we're doing okay. And actually, when I weighed myself and I saw that I hadn't gone up at all, it wasn't even a moment of like, oh, thank God, like I'm not gaining so much weight. I actually got worried about it. I was messaging people saying like, is this okay? Like, because again, I think I had talked about last week about how the doctor's office here doesn't have me getting another ultrasound until 20 weeks. And so I started being like, I wish I could check in on the baby because should I be gaining more weight? And I got worried about it. And people told me, you know, I talked to some people and they said, don't worry about it. Like that's super normal. Usually, you know, you don't gain, most people don't gain weight until they start to get into their second trimester a little bit. So I've calmed down and I do have a doctor's appointment in 2 weeks. But yeah, so the lack of gaining weight wasn't exciting. It actually made me a little bit nervous. Speaking of the doctor's office, I had called them this week to ask them if I could pay for extra ultrasounds. When I was pregnant with Knox, I got one every single time I went in. A friend of mine, I have several friends who are pregnant right now. Another friend of mine who lives in Vegas, she said she gets one every single time she goes in, and she's only a little bit further along than me. And I'm like, what the heck? So I actually called the doctor's office and asked if I could pay for more. Not because I'm worried about anything, but because just for my own peace of mind. I'm a worrier and I'm an anxious person. And they called me back and basically said, like, we can talk about it at your next appointment, but it's just not necessary. Like, if anything, up until at least like 14 weeks, a lot of times there's not a lot to see, and that worries moms more than if we showed them every single time, than if we wait. Because if we try to find something and we're not really finding what we're looking for, then you think something's wrong when really that doesn't mean something's wrong. So we'll talk to them about it when I go in. But basically they said, based on your first one and the heart rate and your blood work and everything, like, your pregnancy is healthy and there's really not going to be much for you to see until 20 weeks anyway. So I just really liked hearing the heartbeat every time, which I thought wasn't going to be a thing because they said I wasn't going to get an ultrasound, but they did say that I would hear the heartbeat every time I go in. So that changed it and that calmed me down a bit. The last thing that I kind of want to talk about, and I wish Julian was here to talk about this, but something that came up between the two of us, and this is for the gentleman. I hope that some guys have been listening to this podcast or at least can get the message through someone else. But I have the greatest husband in the world for so many reasons, but especially because and I've gotten so many comments and DMs from you guys saying, like, look at how he listens to you, look at how he pays attention and how he's trying to help and everything. And it's so true. I want you guys to know it's 100% not an act for when we're doing podcasts and then he's just rude the rest of the time or anything. He takes such good care of me. And you know, the other night, I had asked him to make me my almond butter toast because I didn't want to go downstairs and I was already in bed, but I was hungry. So he was down there and he made it for me. He brought me water. And every time he does that kind of thing, it's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Thank you for taking care of me. When he gets up with Knox so that I can sleep in, it's always thank you for letting me sleep in, or thank you for letting me take a nap. Thank you for helping. And so he's hearing thank you all of the time, as he should, because he's doing a lot to support me in this process. But there was like a moment where Knox woke up in the middle of the night, and I did what people do, and I said, do you want me to go get him? Not having in my mind that I wanted to go get him at all, because I'm just so exhausted all the time and I need my sleep, or I'm just wrecked because, we still have a job to go to and everything. And he was like, yeah, maybe go get him. And I got kind of like annoyed, I guess. And the next day we had this conversation that was, I want to hear thank you. And I actually put out on my Twitter last night, and then ended up putting it on my Instagram stories, that a woman who's pregnant, what she really wants to hear from her significant other is thank you, because we don't hear that. We hear you look great, or you're doing great, or whatever, but Julian has a fantastic and beautiful and wonderful relationship with Knox. Knox has brought in so much into Julian's life that has changed him, has made him happier, has given him so much meaning. And I can see that. And I know that this next child will do the same thing. And so what I mean by your spouse or significant other wanting to hear thank you is that what they're doing and what they're enduring for not just 9 months, but for, I always say at least a year, because the whole breastfeeding thing, depending on how long that goes, and even if you don't breastfeed, it's going to take you 3, 6, maybe even longer months after the baby is delivered to feel normal again. So wanting to hear thank you for doing that, for giving over your body. It's not something that I'm doing just for me. It's for the baby. It's for our family. It's for Julian to be able to have a relationship with another child. And that's 100% on me. And what I said to him about the whole like waking up in the middle of the night thing was, if I physically was holding a baby in my arms 24 hours a day, he would not expect me to go take said baby in the middle of the night and take care of the other baby. So when the baby's out of my body, he will automatically go and take care of Knox, because he knows that I'm like exhausted because I've been with this other baby and breastfeeding it all day long. Well, I am doing that right now. Like, I am nourishing this baby and building it and taking care of it. And every waking moment of my day revolves around if I've had too much coffee, or if I've had enough water, or if I've eaten enough, or if I'm starving and tired, because I'm taking care of and growing the baby. And I think a lot of times people don't think of you as doing all the hard work of being a mom until you physically are holding the child. And so I just told him, I want to hear thank you. I want to hear thank you for what I'm giving up and sacrificing to do this. And so I would encourage you guys to talk to your significant others about this, if you're pregnant or if you're planning on becoming pregnant, about how important that can be to hear. Because it isn't just for you. Like, of course, you're going to have a beautiful relationship with your child too, and it's going to change you as a person, but you're doing this for the betterment of your family. And if you're single, I mean, my hat's off to you, because it's going to be a long time before that child even says thank you to you for anything. So you guys are rock stars, and thank yourself and remind yourself that what you're doing is important, and that you are already a mom and taking care of that baby, and that's amazing. And you deserve some praise for that. So even if it's just coming from me, thank you for being a good mom and for listening. And I hope you guys have a good week. We'll talk to you soon.